Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Christian Questions, talk radio with your breakfast with Jonathan and Rick. The objective of our program is to discuss with you, our listeners, thought-provoking and meaningful topics based on the Bible. It's a caller format. We are very caller-friendly, and we certainly look forward to hearing your point of view. And Jonathan, we're talking about...
Should you believe in ghosts? And our theme text is found in Matthew 8, verse 16. When evening came, many were demon-possessed, were brought to him, and he drove out the spirits with a word and healed all the sick.
And folks, if you're just tuning in, Jonathan and I are up in Morris, Connecticut at a Bible youth camp. We have a guest on with us, Rick Cunningham, calling in from Troy, Michigan. We are continuing a discussion from last week on the role of angels and demons and so forth in our world. We've gotten into quite a discussion just recently here about witchcraft and how it works. And, Sean, do we still have Don on the line?
Yes, his line's on the air.
Okay, so Don is called in just before the break at the top of the hour, asking about some scriptural references in Exodus to the law of the Jewish law that talked about not allowing witches to live. And, Rick, you were in the process of responding to that. You had mentioned that Jesus taught us that we are no longer under that law. We are instructed not to kill as Christians. And then, Don, we had to cut you off because we ran out of time. But you had just started talking about a couple of pages before the instruction about not allowing witches to live. You'd mentioned the Ten Commandments. So why don't you pick up what you were trying to say there?
Christians, in many cases, are so devoted to the Ten Commandments that they want them put up on school walls. They want them put up on courthouse walls. And this is the same conversation with the same God speaking to the same Moses. And I get the sense that these first 10 commandments are something that attracts a lot of devotion, and that some of the other commandments are frankly a little bit wacko and embarrassing, and that's why Christians don't push for them. But when the same God speaks to the same Moses, why this different allegiance to the various commandments?
Okay, that's a good question. And just let me add, Rick, before I turn that question over to you, one of the things we ought to realize here is the United States of America were founded on the basis of the Ten Commandments. Just thought I'd throw that in. Rick, give a response to Don's question about this potential view of picking and choosing which commandments are right and so forth.
Well, we understand the confusion, but the one thing that has to remain clear is that the commandments given to Moses were for a specific nation. The people, the Hebrews, which became the nation of Israel, and they were given a specific country in which to live, and they were to practice these laws in order to live in that land, in that country in harmony with God and His ways, and that their lives would be better for it. Now, for the Christian, with the advent of Jesus Christ coming, He opened a new and living way, and it changed. No longer was He dealing with one nation, as God had worked with before. But now there's a new and living way. There is an opening for anybody from any nation, from any country, male or female, to be able to become a disciple of Jesus Christ and have a hope of not living on earth, not living under any particular country in the future, but actually that after serving faithfully in this life and following Jesus' teachings, that we hope that after we died we'd be resurrected and changed to being a spirit being to be with God in the heavens. And so the law for the Christian is really the law of love. And we aren't trying to defend the country. We aren't trying to live in this earth to change the earth per se. What we're doing is we're trying to change ourselves to be more like Jesus Christ. And one of the things that He taught us was, if someone strikes you on the cheek, to turn the other cheek. We're not to take a life, and we are not to practice violence, and we're not trying to protect a particular country. The Christian is actually, we're like an ambassador from heaven living on earth. So what affects us is quite different from the laws and instructions that were given to Moses for the Hebrew people, even though the moral tenets the moral pendant of abstaining from idolatry or witchcraft would still hold true for us, but we don't put them to death. And the Salem witchcraft trials and so on, that was really erroneous. That was not true Christianity. Those people were misguided and misinformed. They should never have practiced those witchcraft trials. That would not meet with God's approval.
Okay.
Well, I all my life I've been hearing one Christian insist that the other Christian isn't a real Christian. It calls to mind the hypothetical of two astronauts in space floating head to heel, each asserting that the other is upside down. I'm so weary of hearing Christians assert that they have the truth and other Christians just don't. It makes me want to reject all of you guys. Sorry, but there it is.
Well, have a good day, Don.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for your input.
You know, and Jonathan, I can't resist but comment on that last comment, because it sounds like Democrats and Republicans, right?
Yeah.
But see, understand the issue. The issue between Democrats and Republicans is because there's two different philosophies. They both believe their philosophy is the best way to run a country. And in Christianity, there are lots of different brands of Christianity. There's not a lot we can do about that. All we can do is continually search the Scriptures to find unadulterated truth. That's what we do on this program. That's what the call of Christianity really is. It is not to adhere to a sect or to a creed. It is to find truth in the Scriptures and follow after the teachings of Jesus. So, Don, we appreciated your call in and your input as always, and look forward to hearing from you again. So, Rick, let's get back to the main subject. Talk to us about Harry Potter. Now, he seems like a pretty good kid.
Well, the interesting thing is that with the Harry Potter phenomenon, which started in 1997, it was the first book was written. What we find is that there are now 5 books and movies and videos and many offshoot paraphernalia that goes along with a successful book and movie. But the Harry Potter phenomena is actually just that. It's phenomenal. They claim that is, booksellers claim that there are about 192 million books in circulation, Harry Potter books, and that over half of all the children between the ages of 6 and 17 have read at least one Harry Potter book. So this is a massive influence on a huge scale. Now, Harry Potter, the author of these books, she studied witchcraft, not to become a witch, but she studied witchcraft in order to make her books more realistic, so that when she wrote her fictional story, she could include spells and hexes and rituals and incantations that were very similar to what real witches and sorcerers do. So Harry Potter is a young wizard who has a lightning bolt stamped on his head, which is a symbol of power, and the long and short of it is he attends the School of Sorcery and Witchcraft known as Hogwarts, and has friends there, but they're all being trained in witchcraft and sorcery and how to cast spells and so on, but it's put in such a way that it makes it seem very entertaining. But we have to be clear that in the books, as you read them, you come across people being possessed by evil forces. You find people being killed, being murdered. In particular, one 11-year-old witch, a little 11-year-old girl at the school, on Halloween, she's possessed by an evil spirit, and she goes out and murders people and comes back to the school, and she's covered in blood, and she doesn't remember what she did. Now, just stop and think about it. Would I want my 6 or 7-year-old child reading about an 11-year-old witch who went out because she was possessed and murdered people on Halloween? I don't think so.
Okay, so now are you saying then that would you be first in line to ban Harry Potter books? Is that what you're saying? Because let me just give you some input. I saw the Harry Potter movies, and